Because you probably liked it because of the same reasons I didn't.
Possible. We'll find out.
But you're not in opposition.
Okay.
We're both probably going to point.
Alright.
Yeah, I said that.
Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Dr. Leviathan.
And I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta. Tonight we have Bedtime 3, My Fears Realized. For those of you just tuning in, creepypastas are short internet stories that get copied and pasted across the internet. Go check them out on Google or or Creepypasta.wiki or Creepypasta.com. All those, there's a bunch of crazy sites out there for it. And yeah, we're doing Bedtime 3, which, well, we liked the first one initially. The second one had some flaws, if I recall correctly.
So in case people aren't understanding, we've done the first two, so if you haven't listened to those,
Go check those out, yeah. You can check this one out at creepypasta.com. Or is it .com or .wiki?
I got .wiki.
It's not wiki.
You can check this one out at creepypasta.wiki. And it is by Michael Whitehouse, the same author as the original two. And it is a continuation of the Bedtime series. Because I found out today that it was not just 3 stories, it was actually like 6, maybe 5 or 6 of them on the wiki.
Oh, so we get to see if... Okay.
Yeah. So we'll dive right into this one. So it's been a few days since our narrator posted the stories of Bedtime 1 and 2 for people to read, and unfortunately the memories and fears dredged up from this are beginning to affect him anew. Nothing supernatural has manifested as yet, but anxiety and fear of not being alone have kind of started setting in. He decides to go back to the house where it all started to face his childhood fears and move on with his life. So he finds the old house abandoned, and actually in a rather hurry at that. Like, it was abandoned, like, the TVs are still there, there's couches and, like, sofas and stuff like that. There's fucking coffee cups on a windowsill that's still, like, full, also moldy. And there's a layer of dust everywhere. And navigates to the overgrown lawn, or navigates across the overgrown lawn to the back where the window to the narrow room is. Staring in, he sees that it's still being used as a kid's room, or like from the previous tenant. And looking to the wall where the creature, or the, I do in quotes, creature, because he's still a skeptic at this point, or like really clinging on to the whole skepticism thing. Where it all like kind of start up, and that starts to build up some emotions and uneasiness in him. However, nothing truly manifests, and so he realizes that it's just an ordinary room, an ordinary house, and that it's all about childhood imagination and fears. Especially after repeating some enforcing mantras about science.
Science.
Yeah. He then goes to a tree out back where he left something precious from the hasty move they had. Climbing the old sycamore to where a hidey hole is. It's a sycamore tree. He hopes to find his old plastic toy soldier that he would play with. At first, it feels like as though he's found it in the hollow, but when he brings it out, it turns out that what he was grabbed was actually just the bony remains of a small animal. Dismayed by this reality, he heads home. On the way, he gets a vivid and sudden urge to get home as fast as he can, as though he's being chased by something. Upon arrival home, it diminishes, and he takes a moment in his parked car, and that's when the thing grabs his shoulders from behind. Cold fingers try to restrain him as he falls out of his car, and he sees an old twisted, grinning figure in the back for only a moment before it's gone and there's nothing there. After that, he drinks himself to sleep that night, waking up to the first real evidence that he will acknowledge that there is something supernatural or something after him. and it's not just his imagination. On his chest is the toy soldier from his past, but bitten in half. And that's where the story ends for that time being. So, there's a couple things I caught at the beginning of the story. I found out for the first time that I actually had to look up "to let" with when there was he was looking for, he didn't see any for sale signs or "to let" signs. I was like, what the hell's "to let" sign? And I found out that I actually looked it up and okay, so it's just another for rent kind of sign. I just never noticed it because I haven't had to rent out a house, or I haven't had to go and look for a rented place for a while. So
in our area, it's not the common term.
Yeah. The story over the other ones for me made me realize that this was actually taking place in the UK because there's a lot more lingo being tossed around in this one than I think the other ones, or at least I just picked it up a lot more prevalently in this one. I'm not sure if the other ones actually used lingo that would have been more for UK or not. It's just something I picked up as I was reading the story. There is one nitpick I have on this one, or at least in terms of wording. So, I breathed a sigh of relief that all was well with world for that first time in many days. What? Yeah, it's one of the ones I really prominent ones that I caught that was just I had to double back and then triple back and figure out what the hell it was talking about. So, yeah, I think it's I breathed a sigh of relief as if that was all, or I don't know. I don't even know what that would be. As if all was well in the world. Well, it was well in the world. Yeah. I really enjoyed the bait and switch part when he was searching through the hollow of the tree, kind of just having that kind of reminiscing on the getting that toy and really wanting hoping that toy still was there, and then when he realized when he grasps something that feels like it, and then he pulls it out, and to his horror, it's just it's actually a dead animal. I don't know. I got really kind of like a chill down my spine for that. And that's the thing for me anyway. This story really drew me, had a way of drawing me in with its kind of the description it was going with. This guy is it's a very brief set of sequences that this story is illustrating, but it's elaborates on each sequence, and then it kind of just zings you with a couple of really good horror twists or good bait and switch spots. The hollow, and then him just kind of taking a quick breather in his car, and then the hands kind of get him, and then even the zinger at the very end where it finds that the toy soldier was on his chest there and bitten in half. I don't know why, but it just fucking drew me in, the story wise, and then I actually got really excited when the horror was revealed in the story. For me, the pacing wasn't too bad. Even the car chase to quickly back to his house was I was reading that super fast because as he was trying to get home as fast as he could. There are some issues with the story from the beginning. It kind of just went on. There were I mentioned, there was a couple of things that I had to double back on, and some of the reading wasn't was kind of just slowing me down a little bit, but by the end it kind of just suckered me in. The repeated science reasoning and trying to cling to rationality and stuff like that, it kind of works, but I mean, I just don't use science. Don't use science as your reason for doing all this stuff. It's a rationality. You're trying to rationalize the situation that you're dealing with, and trying to use that as a comfort. Yeah, that's pretty much my stuff for it. It for me, this one started a little bit rough at the beginning, and then I don't know, it just fucking hooked me in. So let's see what you guys didn't like about it. Which I'm assuming there were some problems on your end.
Well,
now that I've given the positive.
Yeah. I knew it was going to be fairly verbose because the first paragraph has a run-on sentence.
Yeah.
In it, and just
the first paragraph is okay.
No, there's a period in there.
Yeah.
A singular period.
It's closer to the top than I would have expected.
Yeah. So I sort of looked and I was like, well, I know what I'm in for. And then also at the beginning, he's explaining the evidence. This morning I was presented with verifiable physical evidence. Evidence of what I do not know, but it cannot be ignored. If you don't know what the evidence is of,
Okay.
then how do you know it's evidence?
Yeah. Also, like when he was like, it wasn't the marks on my shoulders. It wasn't the window opened up when I got up this morning. It's like, I'm pretty sure those are still empirical evidence that something is going on.
Yeah, like there are claw marks on the window.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like those are empirical. That's
Claw
not
marks.
empirical evidence.
That is evidence that you can check against, local animals, species to see if they match up, and they probably don't, just based on the description of the thing that has been terrorizing him. Like, because those claw marks are going to be more like a hand than a
like
claw.
a paw or something like that. Yeah,
Exactly. So, boom. That's evidence. That's evidence that you can check against other evidence to rule out other, perpetrators.
yeah.
There we go.
But no, the thing that
And
really
that
proves that everything is supernatural.
And most of the
is
time, the evidence that can rule out other suspects is the best evidence because, basically he's trying to say that a monster exists,
yeah,
but
and he's ignoring the evidence of a monster.
Well, he's ignoring the evidence that discredits it being normal shit.
Yeah,
Like, it could have just been that you fucking did pull out your toy soldier and you fell asleep with it on your chest.
yeah, that's true.
The mind is a weak thing.
I'll need to go to bed drunk.
Yeah,
He drank himself to sleep, so if that toy soldier was anywhere, and maybe he put it away last when he was drunk, so he remembered where it was when he was drunk.
that's
and
where he
then-
left it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
That's one of the explanations right there.
maybe he bit it in half in his drunken stupor.
exactly.
Chocolate! Ah! This isn't chocolate at all. Anyway, the next part's a bit of an exaggeration, which is totally a nitpick on my part. Each morning I awoke, my nerves on edge as if deprived of sleep for an age.
Okay,
If you're deprived of sleep for an age, you're dead.
okay, he's exaggerating.
Exactly.
Oh, fuck's sakes.
It's a nitpick.
Yeah, it is a nitpick. that's a nitpick. That's the nittiest pick I've ever heard. Wow.
Alright. And then there's the whole... He studied psychology for years in university, but doesn't seem to understand one of the key concepts, which is you can't psychoanalyze yourself.
Yeah.
Because you can't instinctively find what's wrong with yourself because everything's fine.
Yeah, because your body's constantly trying to tell you that. Or your
Yeah.
mind is.
Yeah, exactly. So...
Your mind is trying to rationalize. Kind of like what he's been doing the entire fucking series.
Yeah, so, now this could theoretically be solved by, say, talking more about his girlfriend that's mentioned once,
Yeah.
and saying that he met her in the psychology class and has been doing psychoanalyzations on each other type thing.
Yeah, because the reason people take psychology classes is because they're fucked up.
Yeah.
Or at least, it's a common reason.
The common reason they think there's something wrong with them. So, they're like, oh, that explains it. And then we run into the problem that he's essentially jumping off a plane. Because, he's going to the house to face his fear.
Yeah.
Alone.
Yeah.
For battling a fear of heights, jumping from a plane is the worst thing you can possibly do. And it won't cure your fear of heights.
True.
So psychology has a systematic...
You build up to things
You build up to
when
things.
you're dealing with fears. Now, he's also looking for a quick fix, and he is not a trained professional. He's taken a class.
Years of classes.
Yeah, well, he's...
Also, he does state the folly of going to this place immediately. Like that, he knows that going there is probably like foolhardy, but Yeah.
He's trying to quickly solve his problem.
Yeah.
As opposed to... And in this situation, there is no real way to slowly build up either.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying he didn't really have...
So, now, also, this goes to the building.
Yeah.
It explains that the front windows he can't see through. Mm-hmm. And then he goes to the side of the house and suddenly can see inside. If it's an abandoned house, most of the windows are going to pretty well be the exact same.
Like, it's not boarded up or anything like that because, again, the last tenants just left in a hurry.
Also, does it say that he went up to the windows in the front, or that he was looking across them?
Well, it just says that the windows were too dirty to see through.
Yes, but they could have been too dirty to see through from a distance, and then when he was going to the house, closer to the side window.
Yeah.
I'm nitpicking your nitpick.
Alright. Now, another explanation for the toy soldier on his chest is continuing with the idea that he has a girlfriend. He confided in the girlfriend, and obviously he told her where he was going to be, and she's just messing with him.
And she found the toy first.
Well, it could have been months in the making, and she found what was going to surprise him, and then decided, well, this would be hilarious. And
I agree that probably would have helped, especially like just to kind of elaborate more on the girlfriend that is just
mentioned.
Off mentioned that he's going to go see her after all this. But like, it's a bit of a stretch still.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're rewriting the whole story.
Yeah.
And the old man at the end. It's really quick. All he does is touch her shoulder, and I'm thinking, hey, he's just thanking him for the lift. Like, for all we know, he could have been a paranormal entity that was battling whatever is in the house. He's done his job, but he has no way to get anywhere. The protagonist comes along, hitches a ride. Hey!
Alright, again, you're
rewriting
the story for that.
Don't get me wrong, I want to read that story. But...
Yeah. So that's pretty much all I've got.
That's your nitpick. That's the nitpick nook.
Alright, well, I've got a nitpick, because this one fucking bothered. It's one of his mantras.
Yep.
Science does not owe its debts to imagination.
I
don't care if this is a phrase that is commonly used by men of science, but it's wrong.
Yeah.
It is so wrong.
Yep.
Because if man had not dared to fly...
Yeah, it had not looked up into the sky and in wonderment.
It saw a bird flying and said,
that would be fucking amazing.
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure out how. We wouldn't have the society we have. Like,
if the Wright brothers had not had the imagination to design and build their fucking airplane, we would not have flight.
If someone hadn't decided that, or thought that, I'd really like to talk to my great Aunt Mabel, but she's 4 towns over. And that's just too much to drive every day. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Yeah,
it
really is.
Disgustingly wrong.
Like, I understand where he's coming, like, what he's trying to say, but he's saying it wrong in the story. Yeah. In the mantra. Like, the mantra is not, like, it's not imagination that's, like, that's a hindrance to science. It's believing
jumping to conclusions.
Exactly, yeah.
And yes, in science you cannot jump to conclusions. You have to look at the evidence, you have to, and you have to look at only the evidence, and you have to reach conclusions from that. That's true, but science is more than just, like...
Yeah, like the mechanics
imagination
of it.
is the jumping block to...
It's what a lot of people start
science.
Like getting into science.
Yeah,
because
imagination is the first step of science.
Yeah.
Because, someone had to imagine the atom before we discovered its existence.
Yeah.
Someone had to imagine what gravity was.
Yeah, like when the apple hit Newton, it was like he had to imagine why that happened. Like, you have to, like, that imagination is not just like fairy tales and dragons and shit. It is human, like, creativity and, like, wonderment, like trying to figure out things.
Exactly.
It works. Exactly.
It's just it's
a dumb mantra.
yeah.
Yeah, and I actually did look up that quote, and essentially the person that said it was doing it just to spur up controversy and stuff like that, so to piss off people. It's essentially the key of that quote.
It succeeded.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then he used it in a story.
And in the incorrect way, because he's using it to try and help himself
Justify.
rationalize this whole mess. Yeah.
Other than that, okay, there are that part where you were like, man, this is just a jumble of wrong words. There's a few points like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into more examples because I think yours was the biggest.
It's the one I noticed the most. Like, I'm sure I remember that, like, reading through it, like, there were parts that were, like, slow for me, and parts that I would, like...
Because you're trying to figure out what he's trying to say because he didn't say the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but that one definitely stood out the most.
There's a few like that, and that was annoying. But my main problem with this story is its continuity. It has continuity. You know, he goes back to the same house, same window, blah, blah, blah. But he set up a set of rules, for the most part, in the previous ones, that aren't followed this time.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the first two bedtime stories, we basically have a child who, it seems more or less like he's a medium, where these, you know, he moves into a haunted house, and he's the catalyst for them becoming more active.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we don't hear any other accounts preceding his living in the house, and the entity from the first house doesn't follow him to the second house.
No.
It's a new entity. So, if it could have followed, why didn't it follow him then? So, based on my scientific evidence, it can't follow him.
So there you go, when he comes back, or when he goes back to the house, and...
It couldn't even follow him to a different room.
Yeah. That's true, yeah.
Because he switched rooms with his parents, and his parents got freaked out, and then they moved.
Yeah.
So it couldn't even follow him within the house, but now it can jump in his car?
Yeah, hop in his car, and...
Or his car is haunted.
Yeah, but that should have happened a little bit more earlier in this.
Yeah.
Like, unless this is some bizarre meta catalyst, like getting no. That the car, if the car was haunted, it should have been addressed earlier.
But he's changing the rules
Yeah.
because he wants to keep writing a story and he wants to have continuity, but he's changing the rules for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that happens in a lot of ongoing franchises, be it a creepypasta, be a fucking TV show.
Yeah.
You're changing the rules with no explanation
Just to
because
keep
you
going.
can't fit an explanation into the narrative. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I know why there's no explanation, but that means you shouldn't change the rules then.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like another, like a fix for this story for that would be that this is a new character who's read the other bedtime stories and is...
No, I fucking
You don't like
hate
it?
those.
Don't
Those
like
are
that?
goddamn awful
No? Okay.
continuations. Because it feels, either it's written by someone who didn't write the first ones, who doesn't know what was going on in that guy's head, or it's a new character who's just like the last one.
All right, fair enough. Yeah.
Like, because if this writer had have created a new character to carry on the events,
Yeah. Oh, I don't mean like
he would have been a man of science and...
Yeah. I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, I didn't mean like him, like a new character that goes to the same house as the last game story. I mean, like that reading the bedtime stories like made them think of their own instances, and so they go to investigate
Yes,
their
but
old.
what I'm saying is that
that's still not good.
it either would have been written by someone different and would have been just completely different,
Yeah.
or it would have been written by the same guy and been the exact same as what we got. And, you know what I mean? Like, just, in a perfect world, your idea would work. Creepypastas are not a perfect world. This we know. Again, from scientific fact.
Yeah.
And also just... the MO of the creature has changed now as well. Not just in the fact that it can travel. It grasps him in the car
while he's awake.
In the evening, while he's awake. Like, this is a bedtime haunter.
Yeah.
It doesn't grasp you in the middle
It's
of
just
the
like,
day.
you're taking a break, this counts!
Yeah.
It's like, he's taking a breather, it's like, you're asleep!
And it, like, again, it was confined to the room, so he stashed the toy soldier in the tree. Now, possibly he didn't, but he's pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
It could have been in butt. So how did the monster get it to bring it?
Apparently it can now go
to
out
eat
to
it
the yard.
in half, to bite it in half. Like, again, the rules are changing. There's no explanation. And, like, this thing doesn't leave you presents.
Yeah,
It
no.
cuddles you and tries to choke you.
Yeah.
Like,
Or smother you.
you know, it sleeps in the bottom bunk. Like, there's no reason for him, like, because of the behavior of this paranormal creature, there is no reason for him to have revisited the old house, because that implies it's the same paranormal creature. What would have been completely acceptable would have been, this is just something completely different. Because we've already established that he is a catalyst for hauntings. He, moves into a locale and wakes shit up.
Yeah.
Or at least, that's the impression I got from the first two stories, with two different houses and two different hauntings.
Yeah.
Whereas, because he goes back to the old house,
apparently, like...
and because of his unease once he leaves, we're assuming that the creature is in the back seat the whole time.
Yeah.
Or, in the boot, or whatever. It's just...
Yeah, it would have actually then, it would have been stronger if it had not been the old
By
house.
By trying to have continuity,
old house.
He ruins his continuity.
Yeah.
And that's really my biggest issue with the story. I didn't necessarily hate the narrative that was presented, but I really hate it as a Bedtime 3.
Alright.
There was no bedtime in Bedtime 3.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, another thing
there
for, like,
was,
have the creature...
Nothing really happens while he's asleep, except
Which is hilarious, because, like, you think, like, I guess, as much as I enjoyed, like, him taking that breather, and then suddenly the hands, like, thing, like, again, that really excited me when I read that, but, like, thinking on it now, it probably, tied in better to Bedtime, it would have been made more sense if he had gone to bed that night, and then something happened while he was sleeping.
Yes.
But... He wanted to get that, like,
as it is, it's kind of like if the Halloween franchise had done a Christmas special. It's just weird.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I kind of want to watch that, but that's just because I'm me and want to watch that shit.
Yeah, and you want to watch it, not because you think it'll be great.
No, just to see what happens. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
But yeah, I don't think I really have any other gripes with this story. It just, it by carrying on the Bedtime franchise, it's been ended, and I'm really looking forward to the next 3.
Yeah, it might be only 2. I think it was like up
regardless.
To 5, but yeah,
the magic's lost, and it keeps going.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, there could be redemption as further story, and that's I'm willing to give him a shot, but yeah, this one just
you just didn't care for and didn't like the continuity on it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I mean, maybe I'm nitpicking because I'm saying that, there are rules and now they've all been thrown out the window, and I'm not just enjoying the story for what it is. I'm willing to accept that criticism on my criticism, but for me, my point is valid.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, so I guess we'll just dive right in. No, we'll just go into the recommendations then. Probably going to disappoint you. Because, I would actually recommend this one because I personally did enjoy reading it.
It doesn't disappoint. You're welcome to your own opinion.
And I liked the scare, they're not really scares, they're just like horror moments. Like, they're supposed to be scary, but like, and yeah, they are, but I enjoyed them when I read them. And so, just this, him investigating the house and stuff like that, I enjoyed, and it hooked me in as a reader. So, yeah, I will recommend it for what I liked about the story. There are flaws of it, of course, that we just all mentioned, but it didn't ruin it for me. So, yeah, check this one out for me. From the Cultist, anyway. Mikey, he stands for evil.
Well, it was an interesting read. We know that the author is verbose and really likes to have words, and as we know, misses a couple words here or there. Yeah. The main issue that I had is that it wasn't all that creepy when you think about it. Like, you get the unease and the dread, but nothing's happening when that's happening.
Fair. I mean, yeah, I understand, nothing really did happen in this story until, the very end.
Yeah, you gotta give us a reason for unease. You can't just be like, unease!
Yeah.
Like, I'm creepy. Is it working? No?
No.
Exactly.
All right, well. I mean, that's, yeah, whatever. It's your opinion.
Yeah, so for me, the story went on, and I was waiting to get to the creepy part of it, and it just
Never came for you.
never really came for me. It's just an old man in the back seat. That's essentially a ghost to me.
Fair enough. I mean, again, like, it's a difference of opinion, because, like, that got me really excited. Like, that sent a chill down my spine. But, I don't know. It doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for you.
Yeah, so I'm not recommending it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna treat this one like Season Witch. It might be fun to read on its own, but as of this moment, I don't like it in the continuity of the other two.
Bedtime series. That is one thing, actually. That is actually one flaw thing I did find, like, right at the beginning of this story, was that he was pointing us to the other stories. And, like, I get it, it's part of a serial, essentially. But, yeah, like, this story, I think, would have been a little bit stronger if it had been an independent story. But you kind of need the other story for some of the context, but...
Yeah, but it just, for me, because of all of the rule changing...
Yeah.
It doesn't fit in the continuity, much like Seize the Witch, for most Halloween fans.
Yeah.
Now, some people can enjoy Season of the Witch, but...
I still need to see that movie, because I want to,
It's not one of the...
It's not Michael Myers.
It's the one that everyone who loves Michael Myers ignores.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of rightly so, because if you're a fan of Michael Myers, and it's a Halloween movie without Michael Myers, then you don't want to watch that.
People think it's horror because it has Michael Myers.
And that's not
and
the
that's,
case.
That, well, it may be. It's not horrible because it has no Michael. It may be horrible. I also haven't seen it, but yeah. So, yeah, for me, it's... If you liked the other bedtime stories the way they were written, you might like this one, but personally, I don't like it in continuity.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that is a sort of recommendation?
Does that mean that the positive recommendations outweigh the... No, it doesn't.
No, because I think we're honestly split down middle.
Yeah. Yeah, yours is kind of a...
Mine's a half recommendation.
Yeah. All right.
Because I have so many, restrictions on the recommendation that, I don't really recommend it.
All right. Well, if you liked the episode, if you didn't, leave a comment in the comment section below, wherever this gets posted, whether it be on whether it be on Creepy6, what? Whether it be on QE6, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr. We're all on Twitter at E stands for Evil, Dr. Leviathan, and Review Cultist. You can leave us rank us or leave us a review on iTunes. Every little bit helps. And you can check out the title cards for each episode at crazonstudios.tumblr.com. And you can send us an email at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com, where you can also send us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. And if you'd like, you can support the show by going to Patreon. Go to Al Dente Rigamortis on the Patreon and select whatever tier of patronage you would like to patronize us with. Yeah. Support, yeah.
There we go.
There we are. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm still Dr. Leviathan.
And I'm Mikey. The E stands for Evil.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.
Good points for everyone.
Except for you. No, I'm just kidding. I like your nitpicks. Take some of the workload off of me.